On the issue, we're joined by Bally Chuene. He's the spokesperson for the Synagogue Church of All Nations here in studio with us. Mr. Chuene, very good morning to you and welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
Now, what role does the church play during the funerals or the memorials, as we've just seen, that's currently happening in the proceedings there?
Yeah. The church has dispersed quite a number of people, we call them disciples, at the various destinations where there are funerals taking place. Mm-hmm. Specifically what we have done now that, the mortal remains have arrived, we've kind of stepped up the spiritual counseling for the various families, because you know how emotions are, very fluid. So in this particular time, we've stepped up that particular assistance to the various families. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the latest on the funerals, how's it going?
According to our interaction with the various families, everything is going according to plan. Tomorrow is a very big day. There's a lot of funerals that are taking place all over the country. So we've dispersed all our disciples in all respective provinces.
Now, you said that the emotions are fluid, but what is the emotions of these families that has lost their loved ones?
The prophet always says that a pain of one is a pain of all. And you can be able to vividly observe the pain of some of these family members when you see, other than just knowing with your carnal mind that when you lose a loved one, inevitably there will be the pain. But when you vividly see the pain, it really touches you. So it's important for us, to encourage them, for them to feel and see that indeed the church is with them in this grieving period.
Now, in the insert that we just saw, there's some traditionals that have warned that the African customs have not been followed during the repatriation process. Do you concur with that statement?
That the
traditional African customs haven't been followed with the repatriation from the bodies from Nigeria.
Okay. Well, really as a church, we wouldn't really know much about, that particular aspect. Safe to say that as far as the repatriation is concerned, all the logistics around the repatriation was the competency really of the government. So as far as that is concerned, really, the families and the government with the church supporting were basically just the one kind of in charge of that particular aspect. So we really don't have much to say as far as that is concerned.
So you've been interacting with the families on the ground. The bodies have been received, they've been buried, but most of the families, or all of the families really, were warned not to view the bodies. Now that is part of the traditional culture. How has that impacted on those families?
It's inevitable, especially when people always know that when there is a death in the family, the viewing forms part of the ceremony. Mm-hmm. Now, when of course you take that out of the equation, inevitably it will cause some concerns. But I think the government has articulated that particular issue very well to say, because of the condition of the bodies, it's advisable for your best interest as a family that you not conduct the viewing. So it's done in a very good spirit, not really to come and disturb whatever practices or cultural, norms that the people are used to. But there is a very sound basis for that particular calling from government.
Now, let's go back to Nigeria. The building collapsed, there's an inquest, there's a hearing currently happening. Is TB Joshua attending that hearing?
Okay, the latest development on that particular aspect is that, yesterday was the day when the coroner was in his diary. The prophet was meant to appear. Now, we have brought an application in the Lagos High Court. And that particular application basically is to challenge the jurisdiction of the coroner to encroach on aspects which really are not pertinent to the coroner's inquest. So what we are saying, therefore, is the judicial review, which is the application which we've brought, must be determined first as to whether what the coroner is currently doing, from number one, the issue of jurisdiction, Number two, there's issues of serious biasness. So the issue of the prophet appearing as a third element to that particular issue, we're saying that you cannot be able to talk about the issues of subpoenas while your competency to be able to see it is challenged. Let's deal first with that particular judicial review. And that's basically what we're busy with as we speak now.
Now, this is the second inquest that the prophet has been requested to attend, and he hasn't.
No, remember the first one, what transpired is that, the coroner never followed the proper process, which means any witness who is called upon to come and testify must receive hand-delivered summons to say, on such and such a day, you are requested to come and appear to adduce the following evidence. In the first instance, that never happened. So, in effect, we're talking about the first instance, yeah.
So, are you suggesting then that the prophet is not unwilling to attend these
No,
things?
no. I think let me make this abundantly clear. I've indicated previously that the prophet is a law-abiding citizen. There's no insinuation at all that he's basically deliberately disobeying. No, not at all. Not at all. He's committed. He's got a legal team that is advising him how best to go under the circumstances.
Can we expect the prophet T.B. Joshua in this country to come and engage with the families of the lost that has lost their family
absolutely.
members?
That is his greatest wish. That is his greatest wish. The time will come. The time will come. As we say, you see, this aspect, unfortunately, is diverting the tremendous effort that we've been preparing as a church, together with the families and with the assistance of government, to make sure that we bury the mortal remains in a very decent manner. Now, as I've told you, there's a whole program that is going on tomorrow to be able to make sure that people are buried and they can start be able to heal. Yes. And to be able to accept. We know that is a journey to be able to accept that. But yes, once all that is gone through, the prophet has indicated, yes, it is his wish to be able to come and meet those particular families. In addition to what he has done, by the way, he has written those families, each one of them, they have received personal written letter by him with a very powerful spiritual message in that particular letter.
And that's not the only assistance that the church is giving to the
And that is not the only assistance that the church is providing. We have provided material assistance, respective in terms of now, as we speak, for the funerals. There's a 50,000 which they've already received a couple of weeks ago to assist them in this particular situation, just to deal with the cost relation to the burial.
Mr. Chuene, thank you so much for joining us here on AM
Thank you.
News.
Pleasure is mine, sir.
That was Bally Chuene, the spokesperson for the Synagogue Church of All Nations. He was telling us on the latest on the funeral proceedings and the role that the church is playing.